When you think about the southern part of America, certain images may come to mind. A high school football game on a crisp fall evening. Southern charm and manners, majestic live oak trees, sweet iced tea, and crispy fried chicken. Lazy rivers that flow into beautiful marshes filled with the fruits of the sea. Outdoor wonders from gushing mountain rivers to the beach. But anyone who lives in the American South also knows about other things that might not fit so well on a picture postcard. They know about poverty in the South, about hunger. They know about the need for better health care, better education, more jobs, and a cleaner, protected environment. And regardless of anyone's political affiliation, socioeconomic level, or skin color, they know that we in the South can do better.
One of the reasons that the Center for a Better South is in existence is to work with thinking leaders across the region to develop better ideas so that we can create a better South in the long term. We can have a better education system, we can have a better healthcare system, we can have better elections, we can have a cleaner environment. But to do so, we need to work with leaders to help develop the intellectual framework so that they have a foundation of ideas to build on in their legislatures. What we try to do is to introduce fresh new ideas that work in other parts of the country to leaders across the South so that they can make changes that are progressive.
What really excites me about it is the possibility of seeing this area that I grew up in and that I'm a part of improve. And by improvements, I mean improvements that will make people's lives better, that will improve education, that will improve access to health care, that will improve the environment, that will make this a much more livable part of the country as the demographics change. The South that we knew 50 years ago doesn't exist, and the South that we'll see in another 50 years is one that we probably can't imagine right now.
Ideas are the backbone of the Center for a Better South. But progressive ideas don't mean liberal or conservative ideas. They mean ideas to move the South forward, ideas that deal with our challenges and improve our quality of life and communities.
Progressive ideas are ideas that advance the common interest of the community. They are not ideas that merely expand government or contract it for that matter, or nurture interests that are special and isolated. We cannot restrict our public dialogue merely to tax reduction and shrinking government when government, as a representative of the community, can advance all of our interests.
The Center's first work came in 2006 with the publication of Doing Better, Progressive Tax Reform for the American South.
It has looked at our tax system and the disequilibrium in that tax system because it lacks fairness. It lacks a realistic relationship to the levels of income earned by the people in our society.
So far we've worked on tax policy and environmental policy, and those two books are really aimed at creating an opportunity for people to succeed who might not have had that opportunity previously. The South has been a rigid, hierarchical society, and it's moving towards a much more mobile, knowledge-oriented economy. The only way in which we can achieve those gains is to, first of all, have a tax structure that's friendly, that allows people the incentive to invest and to engage in entrepreneurial activity. But secondly, while we're in the midst of that development, to do so in a way that's smart and that respects the surroundings and that creates an opportunity for us to be stewards of this land.
In 2007, the Center published Getting Greener, Progressive Environmental Ideas for the American South.
Across the South, most states spend less than $3 a year per person to protect special places. It's important to ensure that we have these special places protected in state parks and state forests, and places where we can go swimming and hunting and fishing and canoeing.
The Center currently is working on 2 new projects. By the end of 2008, the Center expects to publish a book on Southern election policy.
The book is about participation, and the reason why we focus on participation is because participation is really the heart of democracy. Democracy doesn't work unless there is a robust citizenry that's participating in the decisions that the government makes. Over the last 30 years, we've developed this idea that the government is the enemy and that the government is evil, without really stopping to think that the government is actually us. And the more that we become invested in what the government is and who's in the government, the better decisions they'll make and the more accountable they'll be. The only way that we can ensure that accountability is to ensure that there are more people participating in the process of electing officials and actually running for office.
The center also is developing a coffee table book of documentary photographs that links images of today's South with needs in communities and states across the region. We hope you'll consider giving generously today to the Center for a Better South.
Why should you be interested in this? Because this is your community, this is your society, and it's your children, and it's your relatives. These are interests that are dear to you, or at least they should be.
We in the South can do better. We can have a better quality of life. We can do a number of things, but we can't do these things unless people demand of their leaders to go and fix the problems.
The South is full of tradition, but it's also changing. And it's changing in ways that are dramatic and that are going to affect not only those of us in the South, but those of us who are in the rest of the country. The way that we can get ahead of that change is to propose policies that are going to make our lives better, that are going to educate our children, that are going to give us access to health care and give us an environment that will be safe and clean for all of us. And the only way that that can happen is with your support. That change begins with you.
Thank you for your time. We can do better in the South. We hope you'll help. Visit us online at www.bettersouth.org to learn more.